Well, good evening and welcome to the Arbor Hills Nature Preserve in Plano, Texas. Tonight's exercise is the first field test of the brand new ACEBEAM P20. I do have a rather long history with ACEBEAM. The L19 V2 is my current left shoulder mounted long throw light. I also use the P17 and P18 as free lights in search and rescue operations. Now, when I first took this P20 out of the box, it immediately took me back to the old days. The 4D battery mag light flashlights we used in security. We used to call them skull crushers. This has got some heft to it, but the first thing I noticed during my preliminary evaluation was that although it looks big, it may look intimidating, especially if you're coming from more compact EDC style light. I carried it in one hand or the other, just free by itself. It is much lighter in field than it looks. So don't let the size intimidate you. Now, I know you're here to see beam shots, so I'm going to make this intro really quick. Just a couple things to talk about. First of which is, there's your battery pack. This is a brand new light. I've been told by ACEBEAM that these 21700s will be available individually. You're supposed to be able to just take two of them, pop it in and go. You cannot, however, take any arbitrary 21700 and put it in there. For example, I took the batteries out of my P17 and P18 just to prove it to myself and put them in. No go. I've also been told that these packs will be available for sale. We'll just have to see how that goes. UI operation, pretty simple. Tail cap switch, on, off, momentary. This is your direct to turbo from off. Side switch, quick click to turn on. Half-second press takes you directly to ultra low. Once the light is on, press and hold to cycle from low to medium 1 to medium 2 to high. Double click, direct to turbo from on. Triple click to strobe from off or on. So easy, even I can do it. The other thing I noticed in the preliminary eval, very easy. It's hard to show you here on this camera view, but you can get a good overhead grip. Works extremely well, very well balanced for an underhand grip, and even in the dark, with either your thumb or first finger, you can quickly locate that switch. That's about all I have to say for it, other than there is an optional green filter. I did not have a chance to use this filter during the preliminary eval, so we're going to check it out together for the first time tonight. But enough of me babbling on. You want to see beam shots? All right then, you want it? You got it. Now this light is a thrower. Normally I wouldn't even do this test. We're up here by the playground. I normally do close quarter search test right over here. This is ultra low. I wanted you to at least have one look at it. So let's suppose this is the only light you had. You came through here, right through here earlier. Think you may have dropped your keys. Not exactly the best light for searching, but ultra low is actually doing a pretty decent job. All right, I'm doing something completely different. I'm well over 50 yards from the far edge of the bridge. That's the bridge that I normally show output levels. We are in low right now. Pan a little left and right. If you were path following, I think you can see for the most part you could live on low all night. That's medium 1. Now I can really get good viz back into the tree line. And then let's look at medium 2. There it is. Line of sight there's well over 80 yards. And again, move all the way around. I'm looking deep, deep inside those tree lines. So that's a quick first look. Let's go look at medium 1, medium 2, and high, and when you might make the transition between those. Okay, I'm going to do some really different stuff tonight. I've never actually showed this particular view on any of my videos before. There's a tree in the distance there. I've stepped it off before. Seem to remember that's about 130, 140 yards. And we are in medium 1, medium 2. Now I'm getting some detail that I can see. And there is high. I mean, if you really wanted to see back behind the tree and get some decent detail on either side, you can see another light. Someone's coming down the path here, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this particular test off. Let's go look at one more medium 1, medium 2, high. In this test, we're going to go from dark to bright, over 38 yards line of sight from where I'm standing in medium 1. You could almost argue that's overkill, even more so as I pan around to the right. Keep going. Okay, I'm going to have to move over because of the growth this time of year. In between those two trees is a little over 100 yards. So let's go up to medium 2, and I can see well behind that, even into the tree line behind it, but only for purposes of detection. Then we go out to the right. I pick this tree line up way over here. Now we're getting up in that 140, 150 range since I moved well over to the left, go up into high, and I can get really decent detail for purposes of detection, even as that tree line moves out more distance to the left. And turbo, here we go. That tree in the distance, over 175 yards, and even with the unaided eye, I can see well behind the tree and get reasonable detail. I'm holding the P20 in an overhand grip towards the back. I know from past experience, the further you hold it towards the head, the more difficulty you will have with heat built up. I'm standing with the light far enough ahead of me that you can see the side to side. There is some spill. It's not great. I suppose you could think of this kind of as a hybrid in the sense that the Lumen output is comparable to a high-end handheld tack light, and the Candela is comparable to several LEP lights. So there's kind of a mix between the beams. Okay, I'm starting to feel some heat in the tail section of the light. Now, both turbo and high have step downs. The step down from turbo is more aggressive, about 70 seconds, and you're really seeing it here. You get much longer for a modest step down from high, but as long as I'm holding with an overhand grip here, heat is a non-issue. And I would guess if I need turbo for more than 20 or 30 seconds, I need to shift my position, get a magnified optic, or do something else. But this will give you an idea of kind of what that steady state looks like. And we're just over 2 minutes, so I'm going to let the light cool down and do one more turbo shot. So I'm at the top of the observation tower. The light's almost completely cooled down. I just wanted to show you a couple things real quick. Okay, my knee pads here are very curved. So there's the tail cap switch and the accidental activation guard. I do not have electronic lockout on, so what's the possibility that you might get an accidental activation? Well, let's find out. It doesn't look like it. Okay, this is a very convenient underhand hold for the light. I don't think I brought out well in the intro that double click of the side switch from off will allow you to go direct to turbo. So I have my headlamp on here looking out in a very low flood. So I'm just holding the light here resting. So let's suppose I hear something off in the trees there. I can't tell what that is. So just a quick double click, and there we are in turbo. Click back for off. So another quick look at turbo from the top of the observation tower, many hundreds of yards out into the preserve. That's a pretty incredible output. Green filter, medium 1. As I scan along the tree line here, right about in here, we get distances in that 50 to 60 yard range. And then as I move around out to well over 100, medium 2. Actually, I think I see some eye shine there. I dipped back behind a branch. And we're back around to low. So the filter is very easy to put on, take off, and that'll give you a brief view of what it looks like. Okay, one more time through the basic outputs, starting at low. There's medium 1, 50, 55 yards line of sight with all of this growth. Let me pan around here. There really isn't much to say in terms of summary. This is clearly a thrower. If it hasn't already sold itself, well, maybe that tells you something. I feel very confident in saying that you will need a magnified optic to take advantage of everything that this light is capable of accomplishing. Got to watch my footing here. There is good look at medium 2. I think carry may be an issue for you. If you're willing to carry underhand grip, this is a piece of cake. Click the add to cart button and just go. If you want to carry empty hand. You may or may not have some work ahead of you depending on how you like that holster or carrying case. Then let's open up the distance here, a bit more right there, and finish off in high. I probably intend on using this more as a truck light or something that I would transport short distances from the truck in search and rescue operations. I'll get into that more in subsequent tests, which will be at the Oak Point Nature Preserve and of course the LBJ Grasslands. Now, on an administrative note, ACEBEAM did not send me this light. I went out of pocket. I wanted it very quickly. This is essentially my birthday present to myself. Let me move over here. Yeah. So that means that while this particular video is available to the public, subsequent field tests and videos will be reserved for the SAR team, which is the private community on the channel. So that's it for this evening. And as always, until the next review, thank you very much for your time and thank you for watching the video.